Hi, it's Beth here from Modernised Spirituality. So today I'm going to be doing a video about my top 5 tips on meditation for beginners. This is going to help you out if you've just started meditating or you're interested in the idea of meditating but you're just not too sure where to start. I also just want to say a massive shout out to Manchester Hunt Sarbs for the merch that they've released. So these are the tops that they've released. They also have they have tote bags and like posters, what it looks like from the back. Yeah, I'll link them in the description box below, but be sure to check out their Instagram and give them a like as well. If you love animals like I do, and in particular foxes, then I would definitely go check them out. They help to dismantle any illegal fox hunting that happens, and they put a lot on the line as well when they're going out to these trails, so show your support, show your love. So first off, just a little bit about meditation itself. There are a few different reasons that you might be wanting to meditate. It could be due to anxiety, it could be due to depression, you might just have an interest and just want to try it out, you might not be able to sort of focus your mind, or you may want to just trying to connect to your higher self and trying to reach the different dimensions. The world as we know it, just as black and white, then this is the third dimension. As we expand on our consciousness, then we'll reach the fourth dimension, which is where I'm at the moment, which is kind of between the two. So you are still subjected to negative emotions, however you are a lot more neutral with them. In the fifth dimension, that's where you're going to be peaking in consciousness. That will be when you have no negative emotions, so you're purely positive. You emit pure love, so you don't really get angry with things. You're able to just tap into that higher state of mind when you need to, and you're able to control your emotions. So this is all part of the spiritual awakening, so this is all part of the journey. If you do have anxiety or depression, it is really good in that aspect. It is promoted occasionally, however you've got to think that for anxiety and depression and mental illness like that, a lot of companies capitalise on the drugs that are used, so the antidepressants, anti-anxiety medication. It isn't promoted for mental illness as much as it should be. In my opinion, that's purely because of the profits that are made. Some people find it difficult to connect because they are too preoccupied with things. Even just sat in silence, your mind is still occupied with everything else. So meditation is great for you to just sit down, relax, clear your mind, close your eyes, and then it helps you connect to your core self, which in essence will give you a different perspective, because you don't purely have the perspective of this black and white, which we do in the third dimension. So we've got wrong and right, we've got morals, we've got laws, we've got all of these sort of things, which deep in your core none of that kind of stuff matters, because you're at peace. All you care about is love. It also helps to receive messages. It helps you to concentrate on receiving messages from the external forces, if you like. I just wanted to give you a bit of a brief on what meditation actually is. So I'll go into my top 5 tips now. Tip number 1 is one that I struggled with the most when I first started to meditate. I found it really difficult to focus when I first started. I would close my eyes, I would get in a zone, I'd get in a comfortable position, in a good environment, but then under my eyes, my actual eyeballs were sort of like moving around under my eyelids and like looking around. It was a bit difficult for me to just sort of focus on one spot to be able to rest. And I know that if you're not very attentive, then it can be a little bit difficult. What I found was the more that you tried to focus on one particular spot, the more that your mind kind of wandered. People do say to close your eyes when you start meditating, which it does work for a lot of people. However, for me when I first started, it didn't help because I was just sort of looking at my eyelids, if that makes sense. I found online a suggestion to look at a candle flame. At the time I didn't actually have any candles in my room when I was doing the meditation, so I literally just went on my laptop and I just searched in YouTube flickering candle flame, and the video came up, so I tried meditating looking at the candle flame instead, and it helped massively. Like it really did help. And then gradually, as I was relaxing, my eyes just started to naturally close anyway, so it was fine. But for me, focusing on something that's actually visual at the beginning, it does help. When you do get thoughts, you might start thinking about other random things, like that the thoughts might just keep coming to your head. If they do, try not to resist them. Try to accept that the thoughts are there. And sometimes what I'll do as well is when the thoughts come into my head, I'll just sort of visualise, I'll take a step back, overlook what the thought is, accept it. In my head I'll visualise putting it in like a little box and then just pushing it to the side for now, and then just sort of getting rid of the thought completely. I'm just like, okay, I'm accepting that thought's come through, that's fine, and then just letting it pass, just letting the thought go. And the more that you do that, you'll realise that there's no resistance. So the more you resist something, the more you're thinking about it, so the more it's going to happen. And then you'll find that over time there'll be less and less thoughts that are coming into your head, because they're just sort of going by, and you're not concentrating on them in your head. You're just seeing it from a neutral point of view, observing your thoughts, thinking, okay, great, fine, and then just moving on with it. So that's tip number 1. And tip number 2 is to do a body scan. So while you're meditating, you'll have guided meditations, and then you'll have just normal meditations. So guided meditations, it'll have a voice which is guiding you through the whole process, and it helps you to reach like a deeper level of consciousness as well. For example, a lot of meditations will tell you to go down some steps or go down an elevator, which symbolises that you're going to a deeper state of consciousness. When you are doing that, try and do a body scan, and do this with breathing as well. So on guided meditations, they usually do like a small breathing exercise at the beginning. So when you do that, do a full body scan. Just focus on all the different aspects of your body. So just in your mind, just go down your arms, each arm, down your shoulders, your chest, down your legs, your feet, your hands. Don't concentrate on it too much. You're focusing on the internal reactions that are happening within the body rather than focusing on the outside. Number 3 is to find a quiet place and a quiet time. This may seem like a really obvious one, but it can be really difficult for a lot of people to find the time and the space to do meditating in. So for me, I live with 2 dogs, 3 cats and a hamster, so it can be a little bit difficult for me to find time to do it where there's not people talking to me, coming in my room, dogs barking. If you can't do it at home, you can do it in a different space. So if you can get into nature, that's a really good way to do it. What I do is I get up in the morning earlier than everyone, so I know that nobody's going to come in, and then I'll do it at night time as well, so just before I go to sleep, so again when everyone's asleep. The amount of time that you spend on meditating, that's completely optional as well. So if you do want to start just doing 2 minutes a day, that's fine. You can also listen to ones just before you go to sleep as well. Just find ones to put on just before you go to bed. Subconsciously you'll still be integrating the meditation. You should be able to squeeze it in at some point, so definitely have a think about when is going to be the best time for you. Okay, so step number 4 is understanding the principles behind meditation. So you're going to need to know and understand the principles of meditation in order to reap the benefits from it, and it will also give you a little bit clarity on exactly what's happening whilst you're going through the meditation. One of the big ones is the connection between your body and your mind. So I'm sure you've heard the saying, a healthy body is a healthy mind. We manifest expressions and sensations based on the negative or positive thoughts that we receive. If we do get negative thoughts quite frequently, then it's going to have a knock-on effect with our body. There's been a lot of studies that suggest that there is links between your breathing and your emotions. So that's why breathing is a really important aspect of meditation. There are a few workshops that you can attend, like breathing workshops. There's also some videos, you could probably find some online. Finally, on to number 5. So this is consistency and open-mindedness. So I did touch up on open-mindedness a little bit earlier, but consistency as well is very, very important. So as long as you understand the principles behind it, then it will enable you to become more open-minded, because you're more aware of what benefits that you'll retain from meditation. Consistency is very important. You may not see results within the first time that you do it. You may not receive results that you're looking for within a few days. You need to focus on the messages that you're receiving during meditation. They may not be that obvious. It might be just a feeling. It might be a thought. That's why it's good to observe each thought that's coming through, because it could be meaningful. It could be symbolizing a message. There are a few different senses that you may experience. So you may experience just feeling certain emotions, seeing things. You may be able to hear messages as you're going through the meditation. I would be open-minded to any messages that you receive during meditation. It could signify something that's really meaningful. Stay consistent. So try and do it daily. You have to manage your expectations. It will come to you. You'll receive small messages as it comes and goes. You just have to look out for them. You have to be open-minded. You have to observe everything that's going on. That's everything for today. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I know that the audio wasn't great in the last video as well, by the way. I did forget my mic and it was really windy up there, so hopefully this one's a little bit better with the audio. The next video is going to be about actually disconnecting yourself to your thoughts and how to observe them from a distance. That will really help in terms of controlling your emotions and cutting out toxic patterns. If you've got any other suggestions, just leave me a comment, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!